Hello, welcome to Nana's Journey. Today I am going to use up some more of the fat quarters that I got from the Moda Fat Quarter Club that Fat Quarter Shop has. Last week I used some of them to make this, and I've got quite a bit extra, and then there's even still more extra. So I'm going to use these fabrics right here, and then some scraps that I got from an old project that I'll need for the middle. And this is what I'm going to make. It'll be like 16 by 16, and again I'll use the stripe for the binding. And this was June's package, and in case you're curious, this is July's. It's some blender fabrics. They're really cute. You've got the circles, the dots, some little crosshatch things, and plaid stripes. So you've got gray, black, blue, teal, green, yellow, coral, and red. So those will come in handy when I'm trying to find some blenders. But what I want to do, this is an experiment, so I don't know if it's going to work. I want to embroider a Christmas tree in here. And I have the design in mind on my sewing machine. It came with it. I don't know how it's going to fit though. So if it's not going to fit, then I'll just have to leave it plain. But hopefully it will fit. These are just flying geese. There'll be 4 by 8 flying geese, and then a 4-inch square here. And then I've got some strips that I need to cut of this green and this white. And for the white, I think I'm going to need a 2.5 by 4.5, a 2.5 by 6.5, a 2.5 by 8.5, and a 2.5 by 1.5. And for the green, I'll need 2 strips of each. I'll need a 2.5 by 4.5, a 2.5 by 3.5, 2.5 by 3, and a 2.5 by 4. And I'm going to cut those a little bit longer, and then when I'm done, I'll just trim it up. So let me get those cut, and I'll be right back. Okay, just wanted to let you know I cut the green ones about 1 inch longer than I said I was going to, because I'm not sure what I'm doing. But this is how I'm marking them. I've got they're all 2.5 inch width. So I put it this way so that when I sew on that line, it will go across and line up this way. I've got a line down each of the strips so that I know where the center is, so that I can line them up when I put them together. So you just take your ruler, it's got the 45-degree line, and you line it up at the top there, and you want it going this way, and then the mirror image goes this way. So you'll need to, don't do them all the same direction. And then I'm marking it with my friction pin. I'm going to pin it so I don't lose track of where it goes. So now those will be a strip like this. Okay, I'm going to do the fast flying geese method, which is 4 at a time. And for that you need one 9.5 inch square, because we are doing 4 by 8 flying geese, and 4 of my red 5-inch squares. And I've got those marked. I just took my 1/2-inch ruler, went from corner to corner, and drew a line on each side. I prefer sewing on the line, so that's why I draw the lines. If you want, you can just draw a line from corner to corner and sew a 1/2 inch on each side. So let's get to the sewing machine. All right, I think I will start with the tree trunk because it is different. I need my pin cushion. This one I just sew the sides together. And I'm not going to chain stitch because I don't want to get mixed up about which piece goes with which. I originally had the trunk at 1 inch wide. I changed it to 1.5 inches wide, and I think I might like that better. So that will get pressed. Everything will get pressed towards the green. So I'm going to start with this one. Match it to the fabric here, and then sew. And make sure that that will go straight. Okay, that's pretty straight. So that's okay. So I'm going to trim that because this is like a flying geese. So I'll need to trim it first. Because this seam overlaps this. Okay. It could be a little better. So you can see the background there. I should have moved my stitching just a little bit farther this way. But I think I can hide that in the seam allowance, so I'm going to leave it. Okay, I'll get those pressed and trimmed. Okay, this is how our tree is going to go together. So I'm just going to match the middles of these. This was going, I'm going to unpick a little bit of this because it started going crooked. Okay, let me check, but I think that's got to be trimmed to 8 by 8. Well, 8.5 by 8.5. Okay, this piece here doesn't come over far enough, so I'm going to have to take this part out and replace it. But you do trim it 8.5 by 8.5, and I will be back when that's done. Okay, I've got that fixed. And now we'll do the flying geese. And we're going to take 2 of the squares. And we're going to put them in the corners. And these are big, so I am going to pin because I don't want them twisting while I sew. Now I'm going to cut down the middle, press these open, and then I'll be back. Okay, now we have 2 squared hearts, and we're going to repeat with putting the square in the corner and sewing on the line. Okay, now I'm going to cut in between the seams again, press it, and we will have 4 flying geese. Okay, to trim our flying geese, I'm using the wing clipper by Debbie Tucker. You can look at her stuff at studio180design.net. And we are doing the 8.5 by 4.5. So we've got these guidelines. We're just going to stick there in the seam lines. And this just reaches the line, so at least everything fits. And I'm going to turn it over and stick that crosshair right in there. I've also got this line here along with these lines here to help me line it up. Now there are a lot of flying geese rulers out there. They all work. Just find which one works for you. I like Debbie Tucker's tools, so that's what I use. And I've got my flying geese. So let me get the others trimmed and I will be right back. Okay, this is what our block is going to look like. And I just need to put the rows together and then attach the rows into a block. Okay, these rows are going to be ironed towards the red, and this one will be ironed towards the flying geese. So everything will get ironed towards the flying geese. Okay, now I'm going to put these right sides together, nest to the seams, because they are going in opposite directions, so they will lay nicely together. Okay, now this seam I have to press open. Ooh, I barely caught that. I should fix that. Because of this, these both have points and that's a lot of fabric. So I'm gonna unpick that and bring it up a little because it dropped. So this one's fine. But this one I can, this seam I can just press towards this middle here. So I'll be right back. Here is the block so far. Now I need to get ready for the embroidery, and I will be back when I have that all set up. Okay, I don't know if you can see this very well because it's in light green, but there is actually a star on the top and there is legs down here, which means it's going to put the star at the top and the legs, the bottoms will come to about here. Things might come outside of this, but we'll just have to wait to see. Like I said, this is an experiment. I just wanted to see how it would look and how it would work. So we're just going to go for it and give it a try. Okay, here it is all finished. As you can see, it's a fail because I didn't center it properly. It needed to be moved to the right a little. I rarely embroider, so I'm not quite sure how to do that. So if you're going to embroider something, make sure you look up on your machine how to center something. I did check the corners, but it's here and here and here and here and here. So if I go, okay, well, at least it's inside this square. But, oh, and I was going to tell you the thread I used is Floriani PF 244. So that was the closest I had to this green. So, but that was still a fun experiment. I'm glad I did it, even though it didn't turn out. Okay, I just wanted to show you that even though sometimes your project fails and it doesn't turn out the way you like, it can still be fixed with a little work. Sometimes. So I just unpicked these rows and unpicked this, took the square out, remade this. You'll notice I have a little different fabric here. I kind of like this one better. Reattached the sides to the block and put the rows back on. It didn't take all that much time. And then I was trying to figure out a quilting design, so I've got some drawings on there. So, your failures aren't always failures, they're lessons. And with a little bit of work, you can fix it or redo it, like I did. I just redid mine. And so now we can get to the quilting machine and finish our project. Okay, I thought I would show you once again just how to start and stop. Get my that was only supposed to go once. Whoops, there we go. Okay, and then I've got a really long tail here. All right, so I've got my bobbin and my top thread up on top, and then you just kind of want to lock your machine in, and then you can start quilting. trying to decide if I want to echo that or just do it once. I think since I'm keeping this simple, I'm just going to do it once. Okay, there we are, all finished. I used the scraps. I did not have enough of the stripe to go around with the binding. I was like 4 inches too short. So I used the green, and there's the back. I used the green thread, so you don't see much of the quilting, but there we are. Not every failure is a total fail. We can still have success if we put a little extra work into it. So, thank you for joining me, and I hope you success in all your endeavors, and I hope to see you next time on Nana's Journey.